Raylan, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, for those who don't know, my name's Connor Clayton. I'm a full-time video editor and YouTube manager. I specialize in helping people move over from social media, just their presence on social media, over to YouTube and really make sure they emerge as one of the thought leaders in their fields. And most importantly, open a new lead generation stream and a a new revenue stream on the platform of YouTube. So as Raylan put, being on the platform today, it's more crucial than you might think. Like, it gets overlooked and people think it's just too long of a grind. They think it's all about subscribers. They think it's all about viewers. They think it's all about getting sponsorships. Like, I don't want to hear any of that garbage, like, at all. You can be successful on the platform, regardless of your subscribers, regardless of how many views you get, as long as you do it correctly. And this is what we're here to discuss today. So this is all about planning and implementing a YouTube strategy completely from scratch in the year 2023. Excuse me. There we go. So first and foremost, why, as a business owner, do you think you need to be on YouTube? There's a very, very simple answer, and this does get overlooked a lot. So as I mentioned before, you know, people are quick to jump on the platform of, excuse me, my cat has just jumped on this down the desk. People tend to jump on the platform of Instagram, TikTok, and they just basically just hammer that platform. But there's a couple of things that don't take into consideration. So these people that you meet and these leads that you try and attract on the likes of Instagram, the likes of TikTok, you're essentially coming across that, like, you can do all you can to try and optimize your content, but you're coming across them on the case of the Reels algorithm, the TikTok algorithm. It's really not reliable. YouTube is a different ball game. YouTube does not rely on you coming across the right people on the algorithm. YouTube is a search engine. It's not a creative platform. It's not a social media engine. I'm going to say that one more time. It's a search engine. So anyone who comes across your content has actively typed in the search term that you are targeting and has come across your content ready to learn or ready to look for the solution to a problem. People don't do that when they're browsing TikTok. They don't do that when they're browsing Instagram. This is one of the most powerful ways that you can introduce yourself through the means of video. So if someone has searched a specific search term into YouTube and they find you, they are actively looking for a solution. So therefore they are already a warm lead. Okay. People who find you on Instagram usually aren't warm leads. People who find you on TikTok, when they're browsing on TikTok, they're usually not warm leads. They found you because your content is performing relatively well, but whether that content applies to them is a completely and utterly different matter. So because of this, they are far more susceptible to taking further action with you. And that's the key aspect here. So let's go through a bit of a working example. So let's say, for argument's sake, I'm an Instagram coach. That's what I do for a living. I teach people all about Instagram. I live and breathe Instagram. That's what I do. And my freebie is a bit of a course entitled How to Create Killer Instagram Reels. So that's my freebie. That's what I do. That's my freebie. That's the start of my funnel. So what I'm going to do from there, I'm going to create a YouTube video where I target the search term Instagram hacks. Okay. So I come up with 3 shrewd Instagram hacks to try out because I've done my research. I know that search term is doing relatively well. You know, it has a good amount of traffic. It has a good amount of interest, and it's relatively evergreen. To be fair, as long as Instagram exists, this topic is going to exist. So I decided to create content about that. However, during my video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly promote my freebie. Okay. So as you said, the course was how to create a killer Instagram reel. So you can't tell me that someone who clicks on the video, 3 shrewd Instagram hacks to try out, would not be interested in a free course entitled How to Create a Killer Instagram Reel. So that's one of the main advantages we have here. So like I said, anyone who actively searches this term is very likely to take an interest in what we have to offer. So we have the active ability to target our content towards whatever search term we want, as long as it's relatable to the call to action we're promoting. You know, it's a tool for lead generation. It's no longer entertainment. It's no longer, well, you could argue it is entertainment to a degree. You could argue that it is educational content. It's always going to be educational, as long as they find value in it, of course. But it's a tool, first and foremost, for generating leads. So like I said, if the video is optimized for search, and that's the key here, but we'll touch on this in a second. As long as your video is optimized for this search term, what's going to happen is it's going to continue to show up in search results for years. The actual shelf life of a YouTube video is at minimum 8 years. 8 years that piece of content is going to be sitting there doing its job. I mean, what's the difference between a YouTube video and an Instagram reel and a TikTok? I think a reel probably has about 2 to 3 weeks of reach, possibly. And if we're being generous, until then, it's probably not going to be shown on the algorithm anymore unless it's performing really, really well. Unlike YouTube content, however, like it's going to be there for years and years if it's optimized for this search term. So it's going to passively put your call to action in front of warm leads for you for the next 8 years. That doesn't happen on TikTok. That doesn't happen on Instagram. We rinse and repeat this process. It's as simple as that. So if we have a consistent YouTube strategy and we're consistently showing up, targeting relevant search terms and putting a relevant call to action in that video, and we're just putting it out there on YouTube and letting it do its thing, letting it do its thing over and over and over again. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to get to the point where your lead generation is virtually passive. Like that is the power of this platform. So first and foremost, the question is, how do we begin planning and implementing our YouTube presence? Well, as creators, and depending on the niche you're in, there's a couple of routes we can go down. So obviously it's dependent on your situation, but we're going to discuss a few things you can do to start. It's going to be ideal for your current situation. But firstly, I want you to identify your goal. So if any of us start a YouTube channel tomorrow, the first thing we need to ask ourselves, beyond anything else, what is the ideal outcome that we want viewers of our YouTube content to take? So what is it we want them to do? So if I create a video, getting new subscribers aside, getting more views aside, getting good engagement aside, in an ideal world, how do I want to leverage that viewer to do something beyond watching my video? So a couple of examples here. As business owners, we might want to utilize YouTube to drive more traffic to our website. We might want to generate extra business leads. We might want to book more coaching calls, as long as it's relevant to you. So I want you to come up with that. So obviously we're going to get to that at the end in the exercise, but I want you to have a good think now. Whatever you're doing in your own niches, whatever you personally do as a business owner, what would you like to leverage your YouTube viewers into doing? So I want you to keep that in mind. So whatever you come up with here, and I can't stress this enough, it's very, very easy to deviate from this, but whenever we create content on YouTube around this, we always, always, always have to keep this in mind. So whenever I'm coming up with my content strategies, whenever I'm coming up with the search terms I want to target, I always think to myself, okay, what is it I want them to do first? So that's what I keep in mind before I think, okay, then let's target this specific search term, or how am I going to film this video? How am I going to edit this video? I always, always keep that in mind before I actually produce any sort of video. So the next step we have to decide is to decide on our preferred format of YouTube content. So there's two routes we can go down here. So quality or quantity. Now this is dependent on a few things. It might be down to your personal preference. It might be down to editing skills. It might be down to time management. So there's two routes, like I said, we can go down quality or quantity. And I'm going to give you some examples here, but I want you to think about, when we actually go through these examples, what route would be best for you for your YouTube progress. So here's a few examples of quality and quantity. So a few examples of a quality approach would be either a long form podcast or purposely made YouTube videos. So in the case of a long form podcast, for argument's sake, with Elevated, we release one podcast a week. It's really good quality. We have really good guests on. Raylan asks some really good in-depth questions. So it's a really good high quality podcast. And I do take the time to edit this to a relatively high standard. So we do invest time in it. We do invest thought in it. And that's released about once a week. We also release purpose-made YouTube videos. So when I say purpose-made, what I mean is we've actually done our research into keyword research and traffic search, so to speak. So I take my time and identify a few search terms that I think are going to do really well. And I pass these over to Raylan, and then he goes and creates the content for me. And then I take the time to edit these videos to a good quality standard. So again, these are released once per week. So we're opting for quality over quantity here. However, another route we can go down is YouTube Shorts when it comes to quantity. So these are anything you're, sorry, I'll rephrase that. These are the short form content pieces you create. So the likes of Instagram Reels, TikTok and whatnot. If you upload them to YouTube Shorts, then realistically, you have the spec of uploading at least one a day on these, I would say. So obviously everyone says you should make one post a day, you know, on your social media platforms, whatever your strategy is. Personally, me, if you're struggling with time and you want to, or editing skills or whatever it is, and you want to go down the quantity route, I would recommend focusing on the YouTube Shorts route and uploading one of those a day. There's another route I go down for the quantity route called a short daily solo podcast. So something I've started doing, I've essentially treated essentially reserved a 5-minute period every morning where I just literally speak my mind to the camera about a particular topic, and that's recorded and uploaded as a 5-minute podcast. So, but the production value on it isn't particularly great. So essentially I'm just focusing on the quantity over quantity. It's just a daily show. I don't need to invest too much time in it. So yeah, you get the idea with that. So as a creator, you just need to decide which route you want to go down. So either the quality route where you invest good time into creating good quality content, but you upload maybe once a week, or quantity content where the editing or the quality of it isn't really particularly the best in the world, but at least you're showing up way more consistently. So like I said, here's the advantages of quality. So you have the spec to build better engagement. So if you produce better, good quality content, obviously it's going to perform logically a bit better on the platform. It doesn't require as much content to create. So if you're going down the quality route, one video a week is enough. So it's a bit more easier to stay consistent with that, and it doesn't require too much of your time. And thirdly, obviously, if it's relevant to you, it can actually showcase very good editing skills. So if you put some really good thought and time and invest all that into creating good quality YouTube content, before you know it, you can actually become a very good editor. And if it could potentially lead to more sales, it can potentially lead to more leads, you know, depending on the field you're in. But yeah, that's one advantage of quality. So here's the advantages of going down the quantity route. So it's very, very easy to remain consistent. So if you're just uploading, for example, one YouTube short a day, you know, and it doesn't require too much of a time investment on your part, it's really easy to stick to that. It's really easy to stick to one per day. Secondly, you do actually have more opportunity to be discovered, because the more videos you upload, the more search terms you can target. And naturally, the more often you're going to start to appear in search results. So the more videos you post, the more opportunities you have to be discovered. And finally, a good advantage of quantity, you don't actually require that high level editing skills. So if that's an area that you lack, for argument's sake, and you're not overly confident in your editing skills just yet, then maybe short form is the route for you. And then, like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So obviously, depending on your circumstance, depending on the route you want to go down, you know, just make that decision whether you want to go for quality or quantity. However, I've opted for a slightly different route. And here's what I'd recommend. I actually recommend you hedge your bets and slightly go for both routes. So pay attention to quality and pay attention to quantity. It's something we do here at Elevated. So like I said, we produce the long form quality podcast. We produce the long form quality YouTube video. And we also have a YouTube Shorts channel going up twice a day, I believe, yeah, twice a day. So obviously we've gotten to that point where we can build towards that. So if you're not in that position, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, we all need to start somewhere. But over the long term, the goal should be to hedge your bets, essentially, and go for both quality and quantity. So personally, this is my strategy that I'm going to implement for 2023. And I'm extremely excited about it. There's nothing I love more than to actually get involved with YouTube and just really, really crack on with creating some good quality content. So first and foremost, I have a channel for my purposely created YouTube content. So this is my main channel, Connor Clayton. I upload one good quality video a week where, you know, I spend a lot of time on the edits. I spend a lot of time on preparation. You know, really, I take my time with it. A lot of thought goes into it. And yeah, I want to go down this route because obviously, first and foremost, the advantages of quality that we've spoken about. But as a video editor, I do believe it's a good practice for me to actually showcase editing skills, because obviously that's the core area of my business, really. So that's the first area. My second area is a channel for just my shorts, and I try and upload to this twice a day. Now, this is a separate point, but I want to briefly touch upon this. So you might have noticed that YouTube have introduced a section for just shorts, which is a good practice of them. But I personally would advise you create a second channel just for your shorts. There's a reason for this, and I'll touch upon this a bit later on. But yeah, if you're going to upload both, one channel for your dedicated content, the other channel for shorts. And thirdly, I'm eventually going to introduce a channel for my daily podcast. So I've just started recording these and just in the process of getting them all together. But yeah, so I've got a channel of my purposely created content, a channel for just shorts, and a channel for my daily podcast, which I'm going to upload to once per day. So as you can see with this strategy, I'm essentially hedging my bets and I'm going down the both quality and quantity route. So this is my process really. So every Sunday, I call them scripting Sundays. I script 14 daily podcast episodes, literally. I've got them right here. And every single time a thought comes to me, I jot it down. And I also script 14 short form videos. So every Sunday, scripting Sundays, I essentially script 28 pieces of content. And every morning following this Sunday, between the hours of 8 and 9 a.m., I record 2 short form videos and 2 podcast episodes. Now, the angle you're looking at me right here, I've got a separate phone camera that I propped up in the corner. That doesn't move. So every time I sit at my desk, I literally get everything ready, open the camera with my software, hit record, talk to the camera, and it's automatically saved to my desktop. So I don't have to move. I've streamlined the process as much as I possibly can, and it makes it so much easier for me to just sit down, hit record, get the thing edited, get it uploaded. I've got it down to about 20 minutes now, which is just insane. I'm really happy with that. But basically, that's how I spend the hours between 8 and 9 a.m. every morning. So I'll edit the shorts and the podcast in a very simplistic format and get them uploaded. So I don't spend too much time editing the quantity content, which I've mentioned. So that's the shorts and the daily podcast. And then after that, 9 a.m. onwards, I literally just proceed with my day. I don't have to worry about content. So the quantity content, like I said, is taken care of between the hours of 8 and 9 a.m. every morning. You know, I find it's a very powerful process. I do it I really enjoy it. It works very well. So if you want to get to that point, I would recommend literally having an area to record where your camera doesn't move. You know, you can literally just prop your camera up in the corner. It's attached to your laptop or your computer. You hit record and it's automatically on your desktop. Bang, get on with it. And basically that's efficiency for me. So I just get on with the rest of my day after that. So on top of this, so this is my process for quantity. So here's my process for quality. I'll just dedicate a full evening to recording and editing a purposely made YouTube video. So I know it takes more time. It takes more concentration of mine, but it's absolutely worth it for what I do, really. So like I said, I'm an editor. It's very important for me to showcase editing skills. So I do dedicate a full evening to recording and editing a full purposely made YouTube video. And if you're going to go down the quality route, that's what I'd recommend you do also. So I've touched upon how I do it, but overall, what is the actual goal of this technique? And me and Raylan have discussed this in detail, and he briefly touched upon this in the workshop in Arizona. But he said YouTube is actually a funnel. If you do it correctly, it's its own funnel, and you don't have to worry about an external funnel. So these are some examples of the 2 funnels that I've implemented using both the quality and quantity route. So this is funnel number 1. And this is for my quantity content, so my shorts. So I reach someone on the shorts feed. They watch one of my YouTube shorts. From there, they go to visit my shorts YouTube channel. And in the header, the advertisement is, I just post. So what does it say? It says, 2 quick-fire daily advice videos on YouTube. Go to this channel for more. So I'm literally advertising my main channel in the header. So if they see that, they're going to visit my main YouTube channel. And hopefully from there, they're going to watch my long form dedicated YouTube content. So from here, they're already on step 4. So they've found me on the shorts feed. They visited my shorts channel. Then they visited my main channel. They've watched one of my long form videos. And from there, my call to action is in the video, like I've seen. So the end of the funnel, they engage with the call to action, which is to book a call with me. So that's funnel number 1. Funnel number 2 is another quantity route, which I said is the podcast. So my daily short form podcast, it basically acts the same way as the YouTube shorts. So they come across my podcast, whether it be on YouTube or Spotify. So from there, they will actively visit the podcast channel. which again is catered towards pushing people more towards my main YouTube channel. And from there, obviously, they're going to engage, hopefully, with one of my videos. And again, see the call to action, which is to book a call with me. So funnels, the marketing funnels, they can be built solely within YouTube if you do it correctly. And, you know, I find this is going to, I hope, obviously, this is going to be very powerful in 2023. But yeah, I can already see evidence of it working on the ECA channel. So treat YouTube like a funnel. Take advantage of all the features it offers you. So essentially, you're able to target people on search terms. You're able to jump on a YouTube Shorts feed. So take advantage of that and design a funnel within YouTube. Oh, excuse me. I do apologize. Sorry about that. And finally, this is the killer blow. This, if I haven't convinced you yet, this will. YouTube is a free way to rank on Google search results. Let me say that again. It's a free way to rank on Google search results. Anytime you Google something, I'm sure you've seen this. Anytime you Google something, if there is a relevant YouTube video for your search, you are going to appear on page 1 of that search. You know, how, like, what's the alternative? You create a website and you optimize it and you hope you're competing with people on Google on page 1, or you pay for advertisements to get on page 1 of Google, or you could just simply make an optimized YouTube video and get there for free. You know, you can't do that on TikTok. You can't do that on Instagram. You know, they're limited within that platform. So if you, I don't care if you've got 1 million TikTok subscribers. I don't care if you've got 1 million followers on Instagram. I'm probably not going to find you on Google searches. However, if you pay adequate attention to your YouTube strategy, it's more than likely that I'm going to find you on Google as well as YouTube. So that's the killer blow for me personally. And Raylan's going to like this. Raylan had a very unique way of putting this the other day. So another advantage of YouTube, as you know, they're owned by Google. So they're able to compete with what's going on with TikTok, with what's going on Instagram. So for example, we had the emergence of TikTok, and then obviously to compete, YouTube were able to implement YouTube Shorts. And the reason they're able to do that is because they were owned by Google. So they had quote unquote daddy money, which is what Raylan said, that it really, really made me laugh. It's just not a phrase I've heard before over here in the UK. But yeah, YouTube are owned by Google, so they have quote unquote daddy money. So they're always able to compete. So if you're able to establish a good presence on YouTube, you know that essentially your content is safe where it is. It's very, very unlikely it's not going anywhere. And you know that the platform that you devote attention to will always be able to compete with its competitors, so to speak. And just to end on this, so I have what I call a bold prediction for YouTube in 2023 and 2024. So I'm giving myself a 2-year leniency here. So obviously, as we've seen, YouTube have taken a slice of the pie when it comes to short form content. So the emergence of TikTok, like I said, that was a thing. So YouTube decided to introduce YouTube Shorts to combat it. I think personally, if it's not going to happen in 2023, it will happen in 2024. I think YouTube will have a dedicated podcast section. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think that's my bold prediction. So YouTube will, in all likely, try and expand its reach even further, and probably notice the fact that more and more and more podcasts are taking the smart approach and making their podcast into a long form video and creating a dedicated channel for their podcast on the platform. So I think they're essentially going to try and take a slice of the pie from Spotify and Apple Podcasts and create an audio only section for podcasts. So personally, that's what I think they're going to do in 2023 or 24, if I'm being perfectly honest. That's just a guess. I haven't done my research. I mean, if I was one of the CEOs at YouTube, like that's the only logical direction I'd be taking the platform, because obviously they're predominantly a long form content platform. They've shown they're adapting with shorts, so why aren't they going to adapt with podcasts as well?